Okay. So, welcome all of you to the LoadRunner demo session. So basically, it's a course called Performance Testing with LoadRunner from Basic to Advanced. So my name is Krushik. I have around 15 years of experience in IT, specifically into automation and performance engineering. So I will be a trainer for this course, and uh, this these are the points that we will be going through as part of our today's initial demo session. So uh, I'll take all the questions probably at the end, like once we are done with all the side points. Maybe after each one of after each side point also we can discuss on few question answers, but most of the question answers will be addressed at the end. Okay. So, meanwhile, if you think that you generally forget the questions and all, you can paste it in the chat window, so we can go through all the questions at the end as well. This is just for today. In our regular sessions, you can stop me anytime, anywhere, no problem. But just for demo sessions, after each topic discussion, we will have some question and answer sessions for a couple of minutes. Okay, so without further delay, so let's begin our demo session with our first point from the agenda, that is performance testing. So we all know that this is specifically for LoadRunner course from basic to advanced. So before going to the tool called LoadRunner, uh, we should understand what is performance testing first. Okay, in the in the current market, so for every application, performance testing is very, very important, right? So let's try to understand the basic definition or generic meaning of the term performance testing. So before going there as well, so let's try to understand from where it is coming from. So if you see the screen, in any IT project, the software testing uh, is basically divided into two main things, like functional testing and non-functional testing. So functional testing is nothing but validating or checking the functionality of the application. So right, some in every project there might be a team called functional testing team or manual testing team, something like that. So that particular team or those guys will test the actual functionality of the application. Okay, and they also do some regression using some automation tools like Selenium, UFT, Cypress, Playwright, or whatever it is. Those functional automation, regression automation will be taken care by those automation tools and automation team members. Now there is something called as non-functional testing as well, where the focus will be on the non-functional aspects like performance, security, okay, usability, etc. So our primary focus will be on the performance side. Okay. So in the market, we have various tools like LoadRunner, JMeter, Gatling, NeoLoad, etc. But LoadRunner and JMeter are the primary or major, used tools in the market even now. Now, for those who are completely new to IT, let's try to understand I know the basic difference between the checking the functionality of the application and how is it different with respect to the performance testing. So let's take a generic example of a lift or an escalator. Okay, because in some places we call lift, in some places we call escalator, right? So let's say I'm on the ground floor. Okay, I go inside the lift and press 3. Now, when I press 3, what should happen? The lift should go to third floor, right? That means we are we are checking the functionality of the lift. When you press 3, it should go to third floor. When you press 4, it should go to fourth floor, like that. Okay. But when it comes to performance testing aspect, when you press 3 or 4, how much time it is taking to go to third floor is important, right? So it's not just going to third floor, but how much time exactly it is taking to go to third floor is also important. Now, one more important thing we need to remember in this generic understanding is I'm going inside the lift and pressing three button. That means I should go to third floor. I should be able to know how much time it is taking to go to third floor. But what is the lift capacity? The lift can maximum, handle, let's say 10 persons. So when 10 persons are inside the lift and press three, how much time it is going to take to go to third floor is important. Okay. From the performance perspective, if the entire lift is loaded, like with maximum people, and then press three, how much time it is going to, go to third floor is important. So without full capacity or without the maximum capacity, okay, if there is only one person, then you cannot you cannot derive the actual performance and metrics out of it. Okay. So when you want to test some application or something with respect to performance, you should apply some load. In our example, the load is nothing but the number of users. Correct? Same thing in any software application. Okay. If we have to do the performance testing, we need to apply some load. Okay. Load is nothing but some number of users. For example, I want to test the performance of a banking application, let's say. How can I do that? I at the same time, okay, or let's say during some time period, there should be some number of users accessing that bank application so that we can analyze the performance of that application, right? If there is only one user, okay, what's the point of finding out the performance of it? There is one user only, right? There is no load at all. So there should be some load which should be applied on the application, okay, to test it for the performance. Okay, so performance testing is all about checking the performance of an application by applying some load. Okay, so how do we do this performance testing? By using various tools called something like LoadRunner, JMeter, okay, which will assist us in implementing or doing this performance testing activity. So I can write that simple definition here for time being. Okay. I'm not writing any textbook definition. It's just a basic understanding in general terms. So checking the performance of an application by applying load. Okay. Okay. So now, what if I don't go for performance testing? So let's say there is an organization which is releasing some product, but it is not doing the performance testing phase, and they want to release it in the market. So is there any risk, or is there no risk at all? What do you think? So any application which is being released into the market, should it be performance tested or no? It should be performance tested, right? So what if they don't do performance testing? What can happen? If they don't do performance testing of an application, it can have a direct impact. It can have a direct impact on the business financially. So if you see the last point, if performance testing is not conducted, then applications might face problems like slowness, like pages loading forever, inconsistency, and may result in business loss. So if you remember, I think in the year 2012 or 2013, I don't remember exactly the year, but the e-commerce application, one of the famous e-commerce application, during that time period, they announced a festival sale or a big sale kind of thing for the first time. Okay, that they did not run such kind of offers before. So what happened on that particular day? Um, no- uh, Normally, let's say 10,000 users. okay, generally use that application for purchasing, window shopping, whatever it is. If there is a big sale or a festival sale, right? So the number of users will increase, obviously. So on that particular day, what happened? The number of users increased, right? By many times. And suddenly the application stopped responding, okay, and a kind of application crashed. So there was a huge impact and there was a huge loss, okay, for that application on that particular day. And from next year onwards, it till now, I think as far as I know, it never crashed again because they are focusing on the performance aspect as well. Okay. Yes, there might be some slowness, but it doesn't end up in crashing or something like that, at least as of now. In earlier days, like few years ago, we never know, like the transaction may happen or may not happen. But now at least we have some clarity, like, okay, the applications, started able to handle the load nowadays, right? So every application must go through this performance testing phase, okay? Else they might face some challenges in terms of pages loading forever, inconsistency, application crash, okay, which will eventually result in business loss as well. Okay. So as a performance tester, our primary goal is to find performance bottlenecks. So, I mean, I can call it as a performance issue also, but basically in performance testing terminology, we call it as performance bottlenecks. Okay. So why performance testing? This is a reason. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. One second. Okay. So hope you guys understood what is performance testing. Okay. The basic definition. Now there are many tools in the market, right? Like LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, etc. As I said, LoadRunner and JMeter are the primary tools that are being used in majority of the projects. Okay. Um, so I know you will have some questions related to it. Yeah, but let's wait for a few more minutes. Please make a note of the questions, or you can paste it in the chat window. I'll just go through. Okay. Um, Now, because this course is primarily for the LoadRunner tool. Okay. So let's try and understand the LoadRunner architecture components first. Okay. So let's say you have this particular slide. So we will derive the architecture based out of some questions. Okay. So let's say there is a bank application. Now the client reached out to us and said, hey, can you do a performance testing for this bank application? Okay. With 500 users. That means when 500 users are actively using the application, okay, tell me how my application is responding, how much time it is taking, okay, how much time it is taking for the users. So, so what will you do in this case? If I give you 500 laptops and assign 500 team members, okay, will they log in to the application at the same time and see the metrics, like how the application is performing? Is it really slow or is it good? So is it a right approach? Any one of you? Can any one of you tell me? Like, is it a right approach? If I give you, if there is any client reaching out to us saying that, hey, can you do a performance testing for this application for with 500 users? Then if I bring 500 people and give them 500 users and ask them to log into the bank application, is it the right approach?
No.
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 Basically, let's assume I can do that. What if client says, can you check the performance with 5,000 users? Or can I bring 5,000 people and give them 5,000 laptops? No, right? So that's the reason there is a component called load generator. Okay, there's a component called load generator. So this component is primarily responsible for simulating virtual users. And those virtual users, called as V users as well, those virtual users mimic the same, human behavior kind of thing, like performing actions, like clicking a link, clicking a button, selecting a value from a drop down, entering some text, and using the text boxes, selecting the checkbox, whatever it is. So this component called load generator is primarily responsible for simulating virtual users. How many users it can generate? How many users it can generate? Depending on that load generator machine capacity. Okay, there are multiple factors, by the way. So depending on the protocol and all that stuff. So basically, load generator is also a machine, a highly configured machine. Okay, like it will have a good amount of RAM and CPU and all that stuff, like 32 GB RAM and all that stuff kind of thing. Okay. Um, Now load generator will be able to simulate virtual users for us. How many virtual users? It depends on the machine capacity. It depends on the script complexity. It depends on the protocol that we are using, you know, and so on. We'll discuss that in detail, like how many users a machine can generate. Practically, we will discuss protocol by protocol later on in our practical sessions. But all in all, this component is primarily responsible for simulating virtual users. Okay. Now, users are there. Now, what exactly you have to do? So you need to test the performance for some critical transactions, critical scenarios. See, an application can contain many scenarios, but we as a performance team do the performance tests only for critical scenarios, critical business scenarios. We don't do for all the scenarios. We just do a performance testing for critical business scenarios. Now, how do you know which is critical and which is not critical? That will be given by the application team, the business analyst, or the client, or the basically the development team. Okay, or together as a team, they will provide us the details that, hey, these are the critical scenarios for which you need to do the performance testing. Okay. If you take any banking application, what are critical scenarios? Transfer money, right? That's a very critical thing. If user is having some issues in transferring money, the user will be annoyed, right? It will be difficult for the user, right, to use the application, because transfer money is the basic functionality of any banking application. Download bank statement, that is also critical. Many of the users download statements, see the statements. Pay credit card bill, that is also critical. Many of the users pay credit card bill quickly. Then what is not critical? Let's say change password. Users, they don't change password every day or every 2 days, every 3 days, right? They change password like once in 6 months or once in 1 year, like that. Okay, those kind of scenarios are non-critical. What are critical? Transfer scenario, pay credit card bill, download statement, like that. Now I need to do the performance testing for those critical scenarios. Okay, how do I do performance testing? For that, I need to have a component which can be used to generate or record or develop the scripts for the critical scenarios. For example, transfer money is one of my critical scenario for banking application. What are the steps that I generally follow or any user will follow for transferring money? Launch application. User will launch the application, right? Then log into the application, right? Then navigate to, let's say, savings account. Okay. Then select a beneficiary, right? Then enter amount and enter amount, and maybe click transfer button, and then log out. So these are the steps that every user needs to perform to transfer money. Yes or no? Right? So for this critical scenario called transfer money, these are the steps that every user needs to perform. So we need a component which will assist us in generating or recording or developing the script for these kind of steps. Okay, that component is called Vugen. So Vugen is one of the component which we will use it for scripting purpose, basically developing the script, generating the script, recording the script, enhancing the script, whatever you call it. So what does script contain? Script contain code related to these steps, like launch application, one kind of request, log into the application, another request. Okay, something like that. So you can enhance, modify, okay, whatever you want to do, you can do it in Vusion only. That is the entire script development, maintenance, whatever it is. Now, once you have the script ready, what is the next step that you need to do? You need to kind of initiate the execution, right? So that execution you can initiate with like 10 users, 20 users, for how long you want to run, like 1 hour, whatever it is. The entire configuration of the scenario to execute will be done using a component called controller or performance center. Okay. Or you can, if you are using cloud, SaaS cloud, there is a LoadRunner SaaS cloud version as well. Okay. Or sometimes your organization might use LRE LoadRunner Enterprise as well, where they will give you an enterprise edition of the component, controller or performance center component. Okay. So whatever the scripts that you develop, right? So whatever the scripts that you develop here, those scripts you need to upload it here and configure the scenario to run. Like configure the scenario means this script, let's say I developed here and I'm uploading here, right? And configuration means with how many users I want to run this script, for how long, for how much duration I want to run this script. Okay. And few other configurations. So all in all, the script which we develop using Vusion will be uploaded to controller or performance center for initiating or triggering the execution thing. Okay. And once the execution starts, the scripts that you uploaded here, all the files will be transferred to load generator, and the actual execution happens here because this is where the virtual users are getting simulated or generated. Okay. So whatever the script I develop here, that I'm uploading it here, and that will be transferred to this component called load generator, and there the execution happens. Okay, and the data will be sent back in terms of results and all that stuff. Now, once you are done with the execution, obviously there should be some component which should assist us in analyzing the results, right? That is called analysis component, which is primarily used for analysis, analyzing the results. What went right? What went wrong? Whether the performance load test passed or failed, or is it a partial success? Are there any issues or observations or concerns, right? Everything we need to find out by going through these analysis logs, analysis metrics. Okay. So here, the data that gets exchanged between these two components will be taken care by something called agent process. Okay, I forgot to mention that point. But the data transfer between this controller and load generator will be taken care by agent process. Okay, that will be automatically set up. Okay, so don't worry, we will discuss the different forms of the controller or performance center or LRE or cloud, whatever it is. We'll see that later. But all in all, the load runner architecture looks something like this, and each component has some specific task to do. Like load generator will simulate the users. Vusion will generate or create the script for the critical scenarios. Controller will create a scenario and configure the scenario as per the requirement. analysis will give you the results of what went right and what went wrong. Okay. So, yep, all in all, this is the architecture details at a very high level. We will discuss all of these in detail, practically as well, in our upcoming sessions. Okay. So let me take 1 or 2 minutes pause here and take some questions from you. Yeah, I mean, before going to the next agenda point, so let's try and see if we have some questions to answer. Let me go back to our agenda. Okay, so as of now, all good. So any questions? So in the LoadRunner architecture or in general, if you have any questions, we can discuss. Like, let's take like 1 or 2 minutes break and try to discuss if you have any questions. Vijay, yeah, we'll discuss that
Load,
question for sure in the end of, yeah, at the end of the course. Yeah, sorry, at the end of the
yeah,
session.
excuse me, may I know this trainer name?
Sorry, you
Hello?
want the
May I
trainer?
know the
You want
trainer?
trainer name? Yeah, Krushik.
Yeah, Kaushik, good morning. Kaushik, as per my knowledge, LoadRunner is a paid tool, no? Some means to install this, we required one official email ID because I tried to learn from myself. Due to that thing, I was unable to do that
Correct.
because we cannot share official email ID in any. So, is there any alternative way so we can install and we can do this practice?
Yeah, you can install the trial version and practice. So I mean, which comes with all the features, but with limited number of users. Our team will assist you in in doing that. No worries. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, so licenses basically, I mean, I'm generally talking from organization and project perspective. Licenses, organization will be purchasing from the LoadRunner. Like, LoadRunner is owned by OpenText now, a company called OpenText. Earlier it was Micro Focus, now it is OpenText. So so every organization will reach out to OpenText to buy or purchase licenses based on their requirement. Okay. For example, organization requirement is like, if it's a medium kind of organization, they can buy, like, if it's like, if they're targeting for 3 4 applications or 4 5 applications, they can buy a license of, let's say, 500 or 1,000 users, and team all 4 teams can share it also. If it is on cloud or if it's an enterprise, they can share. Okay, so we'll discuss a little bit more about those licenses later point of time. But yes, it's a license tool. But for practice, you don't need to buy any license. There is a trial version which comes up with all the features, but with limited number of users. Okay. Now we'll take the remaining questions at the end for sure. Uh, so the third point from the agenda is simple script record and replay. Okay. So based on the conversation or based on the discussion that happened so far, can anyone tell me which component is used to, you know, to do this task?
Vision.
Vuegen, right? So Vuegen is a component which is primarily used for generating the script or recording the script or developing the script, right? So Vuegen. So what we will do is, I mean, it's just a demo session, right? So I'll take some application. Okay. So this is one application basically provided by the OpenText only. So here, sample, I will just log in with some username like this, username and password. I'll first launch the application like this and enter the username and password and log in like this, and then log out. So these 3 steps I will record, and I'll show you how Vuegen will generate the script for us. Okay. So I'll go to Vuegen. If you don't see Vuegen, you just type Vuegen. Once you install it, if you type Vuegen, you will see this icon. Okay. Now, once you click on that, you will land on this page. Okay. And from here, just click on File. Of course, there are many other options we'll discuss later on, but just for demo purpose, go to File, New Script and Solution. Okay. And basically create one folder. Just give the script name. Okay. So here I'm selecting some protocol. We'll discuss what is protocol and all in detail in our upcoming sessions. But basically, if you want me to explain in one line for now, whichever application is being accessed over the browser, like HTTP or HTTPS protocol, okay, whichever URL starts with HTTP or HTTPS, you can primarily use this protocol, web HTTP HTML. Okay, and actually our application, which we were discussing in the demo, it also starts with HTTP or HTTPS, right? I didn't copy it. If I paste it in Notepad, it will show you that. So that's the reason I selected web HTTP HTML. Script name is demo, and this is a folder where I want to save the script. Let me click on create for now. So once you create, it will create an empty script, something like this. I'm just trying to zoom in. So this is the script placeholder where the script will be script. That means the lines of code or whatever it is which will be saved or which will be recorded, from where you can enhance it. So this is where you can record and you can enhance the script as well based on your logics. Okay. On the left hand side, you have the solution explorer where you have different options which are important. Um, like, we will go through those options as and when required. Okay. So, so this is a script holder, placeholder. This is a solution explorer. In the solution explorer, you see, this is a script name, that is demo. And this is a protocol that I'm using, web HTTP HTML. And here you have something called actions. If I minimize it, it will be like actions. If I maximize it, you see there are 3 different actions here. So these actions are nothing but the placeholders to record the script. Okay, why there are 3? Can I add a few more? Can I delete? Yes, we can do those. But let's click on this action for now and try to record the flow into this action. Okay, so that means whatever the steps that I record, the code will be generated and it will be saved here. Okay, so the remaining options we'll see as and when required. So how do you initiate the recording process? So to initiate the recording process, first you need to know the steps manually, what exactly you have to record. Those steps you need to know manually. Okay. So without understanding the functionality, you cannot record directly. You need to have a clear understanding of what you're exactly going to record. Now, to initiate the recording, you have multiple ways. One is you directly have a record icon over here, this one, or you can go to record and click on record. Okay. So obviously there is a direct option over here to record. I will select this option. I'll click on it. So what will happen when I click on it is a pop-up window will appear. Okay. A pop-up window will appear where you need to enter or select few options, like into which action you want to record. Like you have multiple actions, right? Which are coming from here. So we'll see that later. Not that important as of now, at least in today's session. So here you can choose the browser which you want to use for recording. Okay, when you want to record, you need to reproduce the steps, right? In some browser. That browser you need to select here, either Firefox, Edge, or Chrome. Okay, don't worry if your browser is not there, not displayed here. You can add it. Okay, you just click on these 3 dots, go to the C drive, go to the path where the browser is installed, and you can add it. We'll see that in the next session. Okay, this is the application URL. the application URL that the application that you want to record, the application for which you want to do the performance testing, the application for which you want to generate the script. So that application URL you need to provide here. So for today, the application URL is this one. HTTP localhost 1080 webtours. This is the URL. This is my application URL. Now I will click on this start recording. We'll see the remaining options later. When I click on start recording, what will happen is this browser will be launched with this given URL. Which browser will be launched? Currently I choose Firefox. So Firefox will be launched with this given URL. So here you go. I am just clicking on this start recording, and you will see a Mozilla Firefox browser getting opened. Okay. And you will also see the browser will redirect to the WebTours application. Okay, see here. See the Mozilla Firefox browser started, and it will navigate to the URL which I mentioned. That is localhost WebTours kind of application. See, and then immediately you see a mobile window here. Okay, this mobile window is also there in JMeter, but this window over here is obviously more powerful than the mobile window that you have for JMeter recording. This is more powerful, and it's been there for for many years. So what does this mobile window do exactly do? So it has multiple options, like you have stop recording, pause recording, cancel recording, into which action you want to record. Okay, and you want to do some comments, you want to add some checkpoints or assertions. Okay, there is separate concept called reduce point. So you have many options over here, which we will discuss, like as I said, as and when the related topic comes, we'll discuss in detail. Okay, but for now just focus on these two. This is nothing but insert start transaction, and this is nothing but insert end transaction. That means whatever the next action that you want to perform, for that action you need to mention the step. So what is the next action I'm going to perform on the UI? Can anyone tell me what is the next action that I'm going to perform on the UI? I'm going to
Before logging, you
log
have
in.
to give the transaction name. Transaction name you have to give, right?
Correct. So what is the transaction name that I have to give? That means the name should be in sync with the action that I'm performing, right? So the action that I'm performing on the UI, the next step that I'm going to perform on the UI is nothing but kind of login, right? So here what you do, click on this insert start transaction and give a name to it called login, and then click OK. Now, once you click OK, you will see the end transaction automatically enabled. However, don't select it. Go ahead and perform the action. I entered username and password. I logged in successfully. Now wait for a few seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds at least, and then click on this insert end transaction and end the transaction that you want to stop. That is login. Login is done. What is the next transaction or next step that I would like to perform? Logout. Let's say for now, only for today. Logout. So I gave a transaction name logout and click on sign off. Click on sign off. On the left hand side, the user logged out successfully. Wait for a few seconds, like 4 or 5 seconds, and then click on end transaction. And then once you're done recording all the steps, then stop recording. There is a button called stop recording. So it is generating the script now. Okay. It is generating the script now. So here you see, this is a recording report. We will discuss in detail about this in the upcoming session. But for now, go to the action where you recorded the script. So yeah, it generated around some 60 lines of code. Okay, ignore this for time being. Okay, I mean there was a different concept which we discussed earlier for some other batch, and that request got added here. But for time being, just ignore this one, first one. Okay, so let me explain you how the script got generated. Around 50 to 60 lines of code got generated for 3 steps: launch, login, log off, or log out. If you see line number, if you see line number 33, it says LR start transaction login. What does that mean? There was a mobile window, if you remember, a few minutes ago, where I clicked on insert start transaction. Did I click on insert start transaction? Yes, right? And I entered a name called login. And that action generated this piece of code saying that, hey, you are starting a transaction called login. After that, what did I do? I went ahead and entered the username and password and clicked on login button, right? On the UI. For that, this piece of code generated. And you can see the username that I entered and the password that I entered, you can see here. So this request which got generated is for the login action that you performed on the UI. Okay. And then after that, we waited for a few seconds and clicked on end transaction, right? And then this piece of code generated. This piece of code generated, right? So I'll tell you about this thing time later. But let's see line number 56. If you see line number 56, the next action that we were about to perform was log off. So LR start transaction, I gave a name called log off, sorry, log out, and it started a transaction called log out. And I then clicked on sign off button. You see here, I clicked on sign off button. That's the reason this request got generated, which actually logged out of the application, logged out user from the application. And then I waited for a few seconds and clicked on end transaction. So I got this piece of code now. LR end transaction. This is LR end transaction, start transaction. So for every action that you perform on the UI, that means for every transaction that you wanted to create, it will have a start transaction and then the request. It can be one or more. And then you have the end transaction. Okay. Same thing you see, start transaction, request, end transaction. Okay. So we discussed about login from here to here and log out from here to here. And can anyone tell me what is this request starting from 21? Anyone? What is this request all about? Line number 21 to 29?
Launch.
Launch, right? Because it is coming before login. So I assume it is launch. But for launch, I don't see any start transaction or end transaction. Okay, because when I clicked on this record button over here, even before the movable window appeared, right? Even before the movable window appeared, browser already launched with this URL. That's the reason I was not able to enter the transaction name for launch because it happened before the mobile window appeared, right? That's the reason I don't have that start transaction and end transaction for launch. However, I can add it. So you see line number 21, you can add it by writing like this, LR underscore start underscore transaction. So this transaction, I want to name it as launch. Okay. And where should I write LR underscore end transaction? Where exactly I need to write it?
After last.
After
After
it.
line number 31, correct? Here, I will write LR underscore end underscore transaction. Okay. And I need to give the name. So this name, whatever I'm giving to start, that should be the same while ending as well, comma, LR underscore auto. I'll tell you what is LR underscore auto in the next session later. but it is like ending the transaction and deciding whether it is passed or failed automatically. Okay, we'll see that later. So we have three transactions: launch, login, and logout. This is what we wanted to record. Okay, so the tool, okay, assisted us in recording these steps easily, right? So now if you want to replay the script, okay, you just click on replay. If you don't want to do any enhancements, if you don't want to do any modifications, just click on this replay button over here, and then the script will be replayed. That means launch will be executed, login will be executed, and logout will also be executed. Okay, see here. And then you see in the after the test ended, the script result says passed, and it also gave how much time launch has taken, login has taken, logout has taken. So launch has taken launch has taken 0.3 seconds, login has taken 0.2 seconds, logout has taken 0.1 second. Okay, this is a time taken for the server, for the application to respond, and the time taken to launch, uh, you know login and logout. Just a high level information for you. So performance tester will be more interested in these numbers. Okay, now you can ask me a question, sir. Okay, I'm running the test or I'm replaying it. I'm getting some response. I'm getting some times here, which we call it as response times. For launch, I got like 0.3. For login, I got like 0.2. For logout, I got like 0.184, something like that. Is there any standard that these times should come, within like 3 seconds or within like 4 seconds, something like that? Yes. As per the performance testing standards, every response time should be, okay, less than or equal to 2 seconds. That is the industry standard. However, there are some exceptions based on the project complexity, architecture complexity, etc. Some clients might accept like 3-5 seconds also, they might accept. All in all, our primary goal or focus will be in finding out how the application is performing, okay, with respect to the transactional response times. So I want to know how much time launch is taking. I want to know how much time login is taking, something like that. Okay, this is just for one user. I did not run this script with 10 users or 100 users, right? Did I give anywhere that I'm running with 50 users or 100 users? No. Vuegen, this component is primarily used for script development, and you will be able to run only with one user here. Okay. If you want to run with multiple users, this script, whatever you developed, okay, that should be uploaded to controller, and from there you can configure it and initiate some test. Okay, there are different types of tests like load testing, stress testing, endurance testing, volume testing, scalability testing, failover testing, like that. So depending on what we need to do based on the client requirement, those types of tests will be executed. Okay, so any questions so far? So hope you understood how to do a simple record and replay. Okay, so the tool is more user friendly because it's a licensed tool, right? It has everything is inbuilt. Like once you install, that's it. You don't need to get some dependency files from third party sites or whatever it is. You don't need to get anything from any open source. Everything you get it from open text. Once you install, it is done. Even if you have any questions, open text team, you will have all the support. They will obviously respond in like 10-15 minutes max. Okay, if you are stuck somewhere in terms of scripting and all, because your organization has purchased a license, you have every right to schedule a call with the open text team, and they will help you in scripting, and they will help you in any errors or whatever it is in terms of execution or anything like that. Okay. So I can say confidently because I have taken their help many times. Okay, in my career, I reached out to OpenText team, raised tickets, schedule a call with them. Okay, so that they can assist us. This is a license tool, right? Our organization is paying them, right? So we will have continuous support from them. That's the advantage over here. Okay. Um, any questions as of now? Okay. Let's see the course content quickly. So this is a course content. So it is like LoadRunner basic to advanced. So we begin with architecture basics, introduction to performance testing. So, and we'll discuss the performance testing life cycle, where we discuss very important concepts like NFR, non-functional requirements, test plan, workload modeling. And then we also see like LoadRunner, different components, okay, features, different features of Vuegen tool. We also see the best scripting practices in Vuegen, transaction naming conventions, okay, understanding the script and excluding unnecessary requests. So different features related to scripting, different best practices related to scripting will be covered. There is something called runtime settings. Okay, over here you can see these are the runtime settings that we need to discuss. Okay, so and then basically these runtime settings are nothing but these settings will assist us in replaying the script. That's why they are called runtime settings. These are applicable while the script execution. Okay. And then you have a couple of recording options. Okay. How do you record? What will happen if you're unable to record? What are the options? Okay. We'll discuss all those things. Then you have checkpoints. Checkpoints is nothing but like text checkpoint and image checkpoint, like a kind of assertions. If you are from automation tool, you might know what is assertion, what is checkpoint and all. Basically, it's a kind of some text validation kind of thing. And then very important question, very important point, introduction to C language. So many participants, generally they ask this question, sir, do we need to learn coding for this? My answer is yes. How much of coding? Just like 3-4 sessions, basics of 3-4 sessions is enough. Okay. So that means if you learn and practice those 4 sessions, 3 or 4 sessions, whatever it is, that will be good enough to write or enhance any sort of script for sure. Okay, writing your own custom logics, I will assist you. Okay, so the very basics are simple. Like in every programming language, you have these concepts like variables, data types, if statements, loops and conditions, select case statements like that. Okay, so we'll have like 4 sessions kind of thing to cover these basic sessions, and then we will integrate these sessions or these concepts into LoadRunner tool. Okay, that means LoadRunner with C as a supporting language is what we will learn. Okay, any questions on this?
No.
Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay. Um, actually this tool will support another language also called JavaScript. Um, I mean, we can use that as well, but the C language is there since many years, and it is a primary supporting language for LoadRunner. That's the reason most of the projects are, almost all the projects, they still use C language as supporting language because the support is always there. Solutions are always there for all the issues. It's been there. But if you're interested, you can use JavaScript as well. But whatever it is, there should be some uniformity in the team. Like let's say there are four let's say there are 4-5 team members. You are working on one application. They are working on another application. They are primarily developing their scripts using C. as a supporting language. You are developing JavaScript as a supporting language. Now let's say, because you are familiar with it. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry guys. So there should be some uniformity within the team. Like just because you are familiar with JavaScript and you develop all the scripts using JavaScript, and if you are on leave, then if someone else has to look into it, they might be having some issues. That's the reason whatever the projects we use, we run, we try to follow some uniformity. Okay, so if everyone wants to go with C, they will go with C. If everyone wants to go with JavaScript, they'll go with JavaScript. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you should not use other things. For some requirements, you need to use JavaScript for sure. For majority of the things, C language is enough. Okay, for example, you want to connect to database. You can do in both ways, but mostly they will prefer JavaScript. Okay, and they prefer a different protocol called Java User Protocol, which is more easy to connect to database. Okay, of course, the traditional connection of database using the C language functions is also there, but that is a different thing. Okay, and here we'll learn like other C language functions and LoadRunner functions as well, which are required, and we'll also learn how to write and read data from a file using C language. Okay, so sometimes there will be a requirement where you want to write some data to some notepad file, or sometimes there will be a requirement where you want to read the data from the notepad file and use it in your application. So in those cases, you need these concepts. And we'll also discuss what are some real-time challenges in scripting and all that stuff. And next is like correlation. There is one concept called correlation, which is very, very important. This session will be like, this concept will be like for 3-4 sessions. It is that important. So that means without learning this concept, you will not be able to develop the script completely. Okay, it is that important. So we will, the same concept is there in JMeter as well. Concept is same, but implementation is different. Okay. Next is parameterization. This is all about passing different types of test data. Okay. So generally we have to pass different types of test data, right? So I mean, when you're running with multiple users, like 50 users, 100 users, 150 users, right? You might need a lot of data, like 10,000 data, 5,000 data and all. How do you manage all the data then? Where do you keep all the data? We use something called parameterization. And we have an inbuilt option called here. See, if you see here parameters, if you click on it, so these are the different options we have to parameterize the data for our application. Okay. I mean, for our application sense, for testing purpose. And here, till here, all the scripting will be done. And then the scripts that we develop, we will switch to controller and we will create some scenarios, configure some scenarios. Okay. Create different types of scenarios like load test scenario, stress test scenario, and endurance test scenario, scalability test scenario. Okay. So we'll understand and learn all different types of testing as well here. Okay. And then, as I said, analysis is very, very important. End of the day, after doing all the hard work of scripting and execution, it's our responsibility to tell the client what went right and what went wrong, right? So whether the performance test passed or failed, or is it a partial success, right? So we need to inform the client, right? So that decision we will take based on the analysis reports. So analysis component, right? It will give us various metrics and graphs. So by looking at those metrics and graphs, we will be in a position to tell whether our test went right or wrong. It's a pass or failed one. Okay. So what are the different metrics, different graphs? All these things will cover as part of analysis. And also important thing, at the end of the uh, test, like load test or stress test or whatever it is our responsibility to tell the client, right, whether the test passed or failed or something like that. So we need to send an email with all our observations and concerns. So that concept is also covered as part of a separate session. How do you draft an email that you generally send to client with all your observations and concerns? Okay. And then obviously we will discuss some interview question and sessions, question and answers for 2-3 sessions. And we practice scripting on multiple applications. We also use some other concept called virtual table server. So why scripting on multiple applications? Why scripting on multiple applications? Because the more amount of scripting you practice, more easy it will be in your projects. Every performance tester will face some challenges in mostly 90% in scripting only. Execution, they will face some challenges for sure, but it's not that cannot overcome. We can overcome easily. We can take anyone's help. Let's say you and your colleague are there. If you have some issues in execution, you can talk to your colleague and get it sorted out, because it's a small small issue or error to be discussed. But when it comes to scripting, you will have many scripts to develop, like 10 scripts, 5 scripts, like that. If you have any issues, your colleague will not help you daily, right? For a week or 10 days to complete all your scripting. So I have seen many performance testers struggling in the scripting phase. That is important. If your script, if you're unable to do scripting, how will you execute those? Right? Nobody will help us in scripting for 8 hours a day, right? 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. Nobody will assist us. Okay. So that's the reason I want my participants to practice on multiple applications and gain good amount of knowledge. And with that amount of knowledge, they should not face any issues in real-time projects, for sure. Okay. So the more amount of scripting, more easy it will be for you in your real-time projects. That's the reason we practice on multiple applications. And then apart from all these, we have these bonus topics which we will cover. I mean, these are outside of LoadRunner. Most of them are outside of LoadRunner. For example, if you're unable to do any recording, right, using Vusion, there are some issues that you're facing and you're unable to do any recording, you can use these concepts. Okay, if you want to monitor and find out the errors, root causes, CPU utilization, memory utilization, so many advanced things that you want to find out, then you have to know what is APM tool. And we will cover AppDynamics and Dynatrace. These are the mostly used APM tools in the market. AppDynamics, I will give you a recorded session. Dynatrace, I will give you a live session, because both the tools installation in one machine having some challenges. If the tool allows, I will definitely do it. Okay, both the live. But if there is any problem, AppDynamics, I'll take it as a recorded. I'll give you as a recorded session. Dynatrace, I'll take it as a live session for sure. Okay, so these tools are called APM tools, which are primarily used to monitor the application performance continuously. Okay, and there is one more session on another protocol called True Client. So whatever we have learned, whatever we have discussed today, that is web HTTP HTML protocol. Here you can see, right, for web applications. Similarly, there are other protocols as well. One such protocol is True Client, which we will cover as a separate session. And not only that, there are some recorded sessions like 8, 9, 10, I don't know the exact number, related to this protocol, some basic to advanced. So all those recorded sessions will be given to you as a playlist. Okay. And then we'll also discuss about something called heap dumps and thread dumps, which is very important outside of LoadRunner. But say it is important for every performance tester to, in the interview purpose mainly. Load balancer algorithms is also something important, which we will discuss. Connecting to DB through LoadRunner, I can give you a recorded session or I can take a live session. Anything is possible on this, depending on that particular day and timing and batch timings and all. So mostly this will be recorded session and this will be one. And then this also, AWR report to find bottlenecks. So some issues might be coming from database side, let's say Oracle. So we have something called AWR reports, which we can download. Okay. Which you can download or with the help of DBA, and we can find out like what exactly is wrong. So in this session, what I explained was what exactly we are looking at in the AWR report. Okay. So this will also be given as a recorded session to you. So this and this and this one, AppDynamics. Dynatrace is live. This is live. This is live. And SOAP and REST services, it's not like recorded sessions. So it's like live only and also recorded. Both will be given. So SOAP and REST services, I will take live session as well. How do you generate a script for web service? How do you generate for a request for microservice kind of REST service also? Okay. All these are bonus topics outside of mostly out of LoadRunner, but it is very important for attending the interviews. Okay. So with this, I would like to take the questions from you guys. Mohan, SAP protocol, no. For SAP protocol, there is a separate batch. I think separate recorded sessions, I guess. Maybe you can reach out to Kumar sir. I think Kumar sir can provide. In this batch, we are covering web protocol, true client, web services. Okay, these three protocols we are covering. And at the same time, in this recorded session, I also covered how to connect to LoadRunner. Sorry, how to connect to database using LoadRunner using Java vUser protocol. Okay, so that is another protocol here. So the course, the sessions will be like from around 35 to 40 sessions. Okay, and Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. IST. Okay, any other questions from anyone else?
Yeah, Kumar, like you told me that for the amount 35, you will provide some videos. So in that videos, will be covered all these topics or only up to LoadRunner only?
Which videos, ma?
Yeah, you told that recording these videos will be provided if we pay 35 something like that. Yesterday I pinged you, so
Uh, oh, maybe maybe you pinged someone else, maybe from the admin team. That's fine. So yeah, I think they might give you some recorded sessions of previous batches.
okay. And how was the about a job market for performance testing?
Yeah, it's
Kumar?
always there. I mean, it's always there. I mean, see, the thing is like competition is also not that huge for performance testing. Okay. So if you go to Naukri or some LinkedIn, just search LoadRunner. You will get to know the recent openings, how many openings are there and all that stuff. I'm sure market is still good because I know many of my friends recently switched to different organizations. There is no second thought about it. It's not just because you guys are attending demo session, but on a personal note, I'm just giving my observation. Market is always there. It's just that you need to catch that opportunity. Just go through
Yeah,
Naukri and LinkedIn and search. You will find out like how many openings are there on performance testing. Use some keywords like performance testing, LoadRunner, and you might also find some openings on JMeter as well. And nowadays, some organizations are expecting you to know both LoadRunner and JMeter, because LoadRunner, you might ask, sir, JMeter is open source, LoadRunner is licensed. What's the difference? When exactly they go with LoadRunner? When exactly they will go with JMeter? A LoadRunner supports wide variety of protocols. Okay, like it supports some good amount of protocols which no other tool support in the market for sure, because this tool is there since many years. Okay, so it has a good support for many protocols, uh, and uh, and most of the e-commerce, banking, financial organizations, they prefer LoadRunner due to protocol support and due to data security, because they don't want their security to be on the open source platforms. That's the reason they opt this. Some other organizations or domains might opt JMeter as well. Some organizations use both. It all depends. Okay, so I mean, my suggestion is for you to learn both, but not at a time. Okay, so start with LoadRunner and then master it in 2 months or 3 months, and then go for JMeter, or you start with JMeter, master it, and then come back to LoadRunner. But eventually learn both. Here also, you need to know what is Dynatrace APM tool, what is AppDynamics APM tool. At least two, if you know, it will be good. That's the reason we are covering two. Okay. So any other questions?
Yeah, actually, I have experience on in IT. So for 3 years I have worked, but for 1 year only I have worked on performance. Meaning I have worked on some other testing, like they moved to some other projects for automation manual. So again, I'm referring to performance only. So to switch to other company. So is it good?
Yeah. There is no doubt about it. Um, it's always there. And after completing this course, you can obviously present yourself as a 5 years of experience on LoadRunner for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
hi
Thank
Krushi.
you.
Mhm.
So as you mentioned that this is the 40 days duration of this course and load runner is the license. So how we can manage for the practice?
That's what I'm saying. LoadRunner trial version can be installed without any issues with limited number of users. So you may not be able to run with 500 users, 1000 users, but you may be able to run with some limited number of users, like 50 users, with all the features. Like you can develop any sort of script or whatever it is, but with limited number of users. So it
Okay,
will
so
be it once you install it, it will be there in your machine for lifetime. It will not be revoked or something like that.
okay, thank you.
Okay, and I got yes, Varma, we will definitely cover major scripting challenges that I personally faced in real time and how we resolve them, and that we are also covering as part of our interview sessions also. Scripting challenges. So in interview sessions, we discussed about how the interviews might be in kind of service-based companies, how the interviews questions will be in product-based companies, kind of thing. Also, we discussed based on the past experiences that we have. Yeah, Vijay. We will have like 3 sessions, 2-3 sessions on interview question and answer discussions. Um, Depending on the users' participation, if everyone are interested, we can extend like couple of sessions. No problem in discussing interview questions or mock interviews or whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So I'm with this. I'm stopping the recording here.